The National Electrical Code, or NEC, generally governs electrical installations in buildings and structures, but typically does not regulate the internal design or materials within manufactured products. Product safety, especially concerning electrical components, usually falls under specific product safety standards. These standards are established by organizations such as Underwriters Laboratories, or UL, the International Electrotechnical Commission, or IEC, or other recognized testing and certification bodies. NEC products incorporated flame retardant polyester expandable sleeving is certified to meet Underwriters Laboratories 94V.0, signifying its compliance with flame resistance testing. However, it is important to note that this certification applies solely to the material itself and not necessarily to its use within a specific product. The acceptability of using NEC products incorporated flame retardant polyester expandable sleeving depends on several factors, primarily product design. The product must adhere to applicable product safety standards, encompassing requirements for insulation, voltage withstand, and flame resistance. Secondly, testing and certification. The product needs to undergo testing and certification by a recognized organization to verify compliance with the relevant standards. Thirdly, intended use. The product should be installed and used according to its intended purpose in the manufacturer's instructions. To ascertain whether NEC products incorporated flame retardant polyester expandable sleeving is suitable for your product, consult with both the product manufacturer and a qualified electrical engineer. They can evaluate the product's design, testing, certification, and intended use to determine if it meets all necessary safety requirements. To elaborate further on the NEC scope, it primarily addresses the safety of electrical installations for personnel and property. This includes wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation within buildings. However, the NEC does not dictate the specific components or materials used inside listed or labeled products. These products are evaluated under separate standards developed by organizations like Underwriters Laboratories. These product standards consider factors such as electrical insulation, mechanical strength, temperature rise, and flammability to ensure that the product is safe for its intended use. When selecting materials for use inside a product, such as flame retardant sleeving, it's crucial to consider the product's overall safety requirements. While a material may have a specific flame retardant rating, such as Underwriters Laboratories 94V.0, this rating does not guarantee that the product as a whole will meet all applicable safety standards. The product must be evaluated as a complete system to ensure that all components work together to provide a safe and reliable product. An electrical engineer can assess the product's design and determine the appropriate materials and components to use. They can also help ensure that the product meets all applicable safety standards and regulations. Furthermore, the manufacturer's instructions for the product should be carefully followed during installation and use. These instructions provide important information about the product's limitations and how to use it safely. Failure to follow the manufacturer's instructions could result in a hazardous condition. Consider a scenario where a product contains both high voltage and low voltage wiring. In this case, it's essential to ensure that the insulation and spacing between the wiring are adequate to prevent electrical arcing or short circuits. The flame retardant sleeving can provide additional protection in the event of a fire, but it should not be relied upon as the sole means of insulation. The product should also be designed to minimize the risk of mechanical damage to the wiring. This can be achieved by using appropriate strain relief and routing the wiring in a way that protects it from sharp edges or other potential hazards. In addition to the NEC and product safety standards, other regulations may apply to the product depending on its intended use and location. For example, products sold in Europe must comply with the Restriction of Hazardous Substances, or RoHS, directive, which restricts the use of certain hazardous materials. Products sold in North America may be subject to regulations related to electromagnetic compatibility, or EMC. Therefore, it's important to be aware of all applicable regulations and standards when designing and manufacturing a product. Consulting with a qualified electrical engineer and a product safety expert can help ensure that the product meets all necessary requirements. In summary, while the NEC primarily governs electrical installations in buildings, product safety standards dictate the safety of electrical components within manufactured products. When selecting materials like flame retardant sleeving, consider the product's overall safety requirements and consult with experts to ensure compliance with all applicable standards and regulations. The Underwriters Laboratories 94V.0 rating indicates that the material has been tested for flame resistance, but it does not guarantee the safety of the product as a whole. The product must be evaluated as a complete system to ensure that all components work together to provide a safe and reliable product. When designing a product, it is essential to consider the following factors. Firstly, electrical insulation. Ensure that the insulation between conductors and the product's enclosure is adequate to prevent electrical shock or short circuits. Secondly, mechanical strength. Products should be able to withstand the stresses and strains of normal use without breaking or becoming damaged. Thirdly, temperature rise. The product should not overheat during normal operation, as this could lead to insulation breakdown or other hazards. Fourthly, flammability. The product should be designed to minimize the risk of fire. All materials used in the product should be flame retardant or non-combustible. Fifthly, grounding. The product should be properly grounded to prevent electrical shock. Sixthly, overcurrent protection. The product should be protected against overcurrents such as short circuits or overloads. Seventhly, environmental conditions. The product should be able to withstand the environmental conditions in which it will be used, such as temperature, humidity, and vibration. Eighthly, electromagnetic compatibility. The product should not emit excessive electromagnetic interference, and it should not be susceptible to interference from other devices. Ninthly, compliance with applicable standards and regulations. The product should comply with all applicable safety standards and regulations, such as the NEC, Underwriters Laboratory Standards, and European Union directives. In addition to these factors, it is also important to consider the product's intended use and the potential hazards associated with its use. For example, a product that will be used in a wet environment should be designed to prevent water from entering the enclosure and causing an electrical shock. A product that will be used by children should be designed to prevent them from accessing hazardous parts. By carefully considering all of these factors, it is possible to design and manufacture a safe and reliable product. Consulting with a qualified electrical engineer and a product safety expert can help ensure that the product meets all necessary requirements. It is essential to understand the difference between component-level testing and product-level testing. Component-level testing evaluates the performance of individual components, such as flame retardant sleeving, under specific conditions. Product-level testing evaluates the performance of the entire product under simulated real-world conditions. While component-level testing can provide valuable information about the properties of a material, it does not guarantee that the product as a whole will be safe and reliable. Product-level testing is necessary to ensure that all components work together to provide a safe and reliable product. When evaluating a product's safety, it is important to consider the following. Firstly, the product's intended use. What is the product designed to do, and how will it be used? Secondly, the product's environment. Where will the product be used, and what environmental conditions will it be exposed to? Thirdly, the product's potential hazards. What are the potential hazards associated with the product's use? Fourthly, the product's safety features. What safety features are built into the product to mitigate the potential hazards? Fifthly, the product's compliance with applicable standards and regulations. Does the product comply with all applicable safety standards and regulations? By carefully considering these factors, it is possible to make an informed decision about a product's safety. If you have any concerns about a product's safety, it is always best to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or a product safety expert. They can assess the product's design and provide guidance on how to use it safely. Furthermore, consider the importance of documentation. Maintain detailed records of the product's design, testing, and manufacturing processes. This documentation can be invaluable in the event of a product recall or other safety-related issue. The documentation should include the following. Firstly, a detailed description of the product's design. Secondly, a list of all components used in the product. Thirdly, the results of all component level and product level testing. Fourthly, a description of the product's manufacturing process. Fifthly, a list of all applicable standards and regulations. By maintaining thorough documentation, you can demonstrate that you have taken all reasonable steps to ensure the product's safety. This can help to protect your company from liability in the event of an accident. Also, understand the role of third-party certification. Consider obtaining third-party certification for your product from a recognized testing and certification organization. Third-party certification provides independent verification that your product meets all applicable safety standards and regulations. This can give your customers confidence in the safety of your product. Some of the most common third-party certification organizations include Underwriters Laboratories, Canadian Standards Association or CSA, and TÜV Rheinland. These organizations have extensive experience in evaluating product safety and can provide valuable guidance on how to design and manufacture safe products. When choosing a third-party certification organization, it is important to select one that is accredited by a recognized accreditation body. Accreditation provides assurance that the certification organization is competent and impartial. In addition to obtaining third-party certification, it is also important to conduct regular internal audits of your product safety program. Internal audits can help to identify potential problems and ensure that your product safety program is effective. The internal audit should be conducted by a qualified individual who is independent of the product development and manufacturing teams. The results of the internal audit should be documented and used to improve the product safety program. By taking these steps, you can ensure that your product is safe and reliable and that you are meeting all applicable safety standards and regulations. This can help to protect your customers from harm and to protect your company from liability. Always remember that product safety is an ongoing process, not a one-time event.